Hello, everyone, and welcome to our pre-recording podcast. For today's conference, we are here with the Green Non-Road Mobile Machinery Forum, and we are very happy to have with us our platinum sponsor and from Webasto Group of Battery Systems. He is Nico Münch. Hi, Nico, for being with us in this.
Hi, Lupita.
Hi, in this podcast, pre-conference podcast. Instead of me reading out your bio, could you please tell us something about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much for having me here today. And I'm really excited to represent Webasto in this very interesting forum. My name is Nico Münch, and I'm responsible for business development batteries at Webasto. I joined 9 years ago, and basically I started out in sales and then went to corporate strategy. And in 2016, when our new business unit, Battery Systems, was founded, I became responsible for the business development and have ever been responsible since. Basically, just a couple words to Webasto as well. Webasto is a top 100 automotive supplier with about 3.5 billion euro turnover and around 15,000 employees. And our core businesses are actually sunroofs and convertible tops, as well as parking heaters and thermal systems. But since 2016, we are very involved in the e-mobility business as well.
Where are the trends in mobility going, and which technology will ultimately prevail, do you think?
That's actually an extremely good question, and I think a lot of people are asking this currently themselves. And if I had a crystal ball and if I would knew it for sure, I think this would be great. But nevertheless, obviously, we see a lot of developments going on, and especially there's a lot of technologies coming out, and there's actually something that hasn't been there in the last decades, and this is for the first time that multiple technologies are actually getting money, are being invested in. It's not just the internal combustion engine anymore. It's not just electric mobility in the classical way of battery electric mobility. But there's also plug-in hybrids. There's multiple other forms of electric mobility, be it fuel cell. And then even if we look into the electric mobility, there's a lot of different applications right now. For example, different cell technologies. So you, depending on the cell format, where you have large companies basically deciding which format they want to go to, but there's also different cell chemistries for different applications. So I don't think there's going to be only one technology that will prevail. I think there's going to be multiple technologies, and it'll be more a case of the right application fit to the right technology. Nevertheless, yes, of course, electric mobility, with the investments that are currently being made into this technology, will have the majority of applications in the future. And thus, I'm actually very excited that Webasto is an active part of this development.
How did Webasto make the entry into electromobility?
In 2015, we launched our first product for the electric mobility, and that was our high voltage heater that we actually started the development in 2011. And this product has actually by now multiple versions, including an 800 volt water heater, which is used in the Porsche Taycan. So this was basically the start. And after this initial success, in 2015, Webasto looked at its core capabilities, and we decided what other areas in the electric mobility can we use these core capabilities. And thus, in 2016, the two new divisions, charging and battery systems, were founded. And since 2016, we are doing wall boxes with the pure and so we're there very active. And then also we have launched our first fully developed battery system, which we call the Commercial Vehicle Standard Battery System, or short the CV Standard. And this is a system that in 2017 we decided to develop by ourselves. So we do the housing ourselves. We buy the modules from Samsung SDI, but we do all the assembly, the electronics are ourselves. And it's actually an application that initially has been developed for commercial vehicle on-road vehicles. But since our launch in 2020, what we've seen is that because of the specific features of this battery system, with its high robustness and high longevity and its dimensions, it fits actually perfectly for off-road and non-road vehicles in all different kind of applications. In 2020, we then not only launched our CV Standard, but we actually also made the next step in our batteries business by winning our largest contract ever in Korea from HKMC. And there we're currently building our first plant in Korea, which is going to be a sole battery production plant, and we are very excited.
How we can transfer our findings from the on-highway sector to the off-highway sector, like we transfer our findings.
Sure. So as I said, the CV Standard battery system was actually initially developed for on-road vehicles using 400 volt, using Samsung modules. And then what we figured out, it actually fits to commercial vehicles and non-road vehicles actually quite well. And I think this is something that will happen or happens more often. So because the component development mostly happens for the large-scale passenger vehicle on-road OEMs, this is where the initial money is being invested, and then this is where the new technologies come up. So when you want to be successful in the near future, what you have to take a look at is you have to take a look at the developments in the on-road area, and then you can predict somewhat quite well what's going to happen also in the off-highway sector. So all what you see, for example, in the on-road area is that a lot of OEMs switch from 400 volt to 800 volt because it makes it easier for high power applications. And this is then sports cars, for example, in passenger vehicles. But you need high power applications for your off-road applications. As such, it makes total sense to take a look, example, from 400 volt to 800 volt, where are the components coming from. When we look at all those developments, the same thing is going to be true with the cell and cell chemistries. For example, again, on the CV Standard, in the beginning, what we said is we use a cell that has been developed for battery electric vehicle, but what we figured out was that because a lot of cars are not being used as commercial vehicles, our battery cells have the wrong specifications. So when you want to use something from the on-road area and apply it to the off-road area, what we did is we looked, for example, at plug-in hybrid cells, and they have a different chemistry, and this chemistry shows that it has a higher longevity and a higher lifetime, so it's more suitable, but it's being used in passenger vehicle plug-in hybrids. We are using it now in our CV Standard battery system for fully battery electric off-road vehicles, but that have this high amount of usage. So the most important, the crucial step is look at the passenger vehicle marked and then use the components wherever you can and make adaptations where necessary.
If you could list a few difficulties in the electrification of construction machinery for us.
Sure. So one of the difficulties is obviously in the construction area that you need a very high robustness requirement. So when we look into stiffness of the battery system, when we look in vibration profiles and those things, and there's also crush and crash specifications, all those things have a completely different level when you have them, for example, in a bus to when you have them in a construction machinery. So to fulfill those specifications and those tough requirements, this is definitely one of the difficulties. But there's also the difficulty that those requirements are somehow in a complex certification environment. So while it's very clear what you have to certify for passenger vehicles and buses, the electrification of construction machinery is still a little bit one step behind, and as such is the certifications. So all those certifications which are new and being developed right now, you have to somehow predict and integrate them upfront in your battery system without making it too heavy or making it too expensive. And I think we've done there a great job with our CV standard Gen 1, which basically the reason for it is that we always wanted to be on the safe side. And by this, we've created a super robust workhorse, we call it. So it has not the highest specifications in regards to energy density, but it fulfills all these very difficult construction machinery specifications. And one other thing is obviously the serviceability in the field. So you have to make sure that battery systems can be serviced, can be exchanged. And there, I think, especially the vehicle integration is crucial. And this is something that we approach in this area that we say as Webasto, we support all our customers with an integration service when they buy our batteries, to make sure that you can exchange those batteries quickly and you have a high level of serviceability there available.
How the development of battery systems look like in the future? Like, what does the future look like in the development of battery systems?
Hopefully for everyone, reduce prices. We still know that one of the biggest, the two biggest problems for electric mobility right now is still the relatively high price in battery systems and also the energy density of the packs. So you have the range or the time of usage that you're having, and I think this is two crucial parts and that we'll see over the next years with the large investments and economies of scale and also improvements in technology. There's one other thing which is not as prominent right now, but I think what's going to be crucial also is the point of recyclability. So recycling of batteries, first, second life, but then also getting the resources back and reusing them in kind of like a circular economy is going to be crucial. And this is something that in the design of the battery system, we have to make sure that this is being integrated right away to be able to actually promote electrification and to really make it a greener and better technology. I think in general, there's a broad range of application possible. So it's not just going to be one technology that's going to be winning. I know there's a lot of people looking for solid states, but there's also other technologies, and I think it'll be more going away from the one right solution to find the right solution for the right application, find the right battery system for the right product, and I think we at Webasto will also broaden our portfolio in this regard. As such, I'm actually very excited to be part of the development in the next years and to continue promoting batteries at Webasto.